in my purse. Hello, hello. Are you all right? Oh man, I should really check out the Misagara situation before going live. Right, here we are, live on our Wednesday evening at live at 5. Didn't even think I'd be doing that. Live at 5. So tonight's training is all about time. So maximising the time that we have available and working on ways of losing the I don't have time excuse or reason for prioritisation of ourselves. So hopefully in the description of this live there is a link there. Could somebody just open it and check that it opens and there's stuff there and it's all okay. I'm just making sure on my computer that I am indeed live. I can see some people. So if you are watching me live, give me a normal hashtag live. And if you're watching on replay, give me a hashtag replay as well. That would be awesome. Right. Yep, the link has appeared on the post. That is good news. Good news. So first of all, before we go on, I would like to wish Kat Chalmers the most awesome birthday. So Kat, for those of you that don't know, Kat is a coach for us here at EMW, and she also does fitness classes and PT as well in the background. So happy birthday, Kat. I know a lot of the girls here are quite close with her, so here's a big birthday celebration, and also big welcome to all the new girls that have joined the group over this past week. So welcome, hello. I think I've been in touch with most of the new joiners. If you've not received a message and you want a message, just say, it's fine. And I'm saying a huge sad farewell to some of our ladies within our coaching program that are flying the nest finally, and we're going to be really sad to see them go, but we have every confidence that they are continuing their path to glory. Path to glory. All right, so we're ready just to get stuck into losing the time excuse. So I'm going to keep a wee eye on, thank you, Dawn, keeping a wee eye on the comments to make sure everything's working. Okay, so time. So time factors are a huge contributor to success or perceived failure. And I say perceived failure because failure is doing nothing. If you are doing something but it's not succeeding, you're actually not failing. It is just a case of something hasn't worked right, so it's just learning. It's just we're accumulating data to use next. So time management is a little bit of a subject close to my heart. So before I moved into the coaching world, I was a project manager. So project managers is basically their sole focus is getting things delivered on time, on budget, with the right quality. Is essentially what the premise is. So I have quite a lot of experience in time management, but also I have worked a lot in leadership roles with teams and helping them be the most productive that they can be. And that goes for myself and that goes for our clients. And it's something that we've built into our coaching as well. So what is the actual issue here when we're talking about time? So very often I'll speak to ladies or I'll hear in this group, just don't have the time. But what does that actually mean? So everybody has time. Time is a thing, everybody has time. But when we don't have the right amount of time or spare time, it typically means that we're not doing the things that are going to help us reach our goals. And that typically means, no meal prep, no meal planning, no creating a shopping list, no exercise, no time for self-care. And when we do all of that, we are making ourselves a low priority. Sorry, nobody can see this, but my cat is just parading up and down the desk, wanting head scratches. So when we put ourselves down as a low priority, it means that, our goals are then deemed not as important as all these other things that are using up our time. So the other point to consider, and I talked about this a little bit in a training a couple of weeks ago, is about tiredness. So it's not necessarily just time. We have fatigue. So if you think about, you know, we're all successful, we're all busy, we all have responsibility in our careers and our family lives. The amount of decisions that a typical woman has to make every single day when you are in a position of responsibility and you've maybe got a team and you've got kids and you've got a house and you've got pets and you have all these things, the amount of decisions that you have to make on a daily basis is really, really draining. So when you are faced with the proposition of, you know, I've got 40 minutes to do exercise, or I've got 40 minutes to do, did you see the cat's tail there? 40 minutes to make meals, or 40 minutes to, I can use that to just sit and stare at a wall or stare at the TV or stare at your phone. Because you've had such a lot of brain work over the course of the day, the automatic reaction is wanting to go and just sit down and escape, a little bit of escapism. So we've got to bear that in mind as well. And there is elements of, we have to give ourselves a little bit of a break, but we also have to stand up for ourselves and decide what is the priority for us. So, you know, lack of time can be a real life issue for people, but for some people it can also be an excuse. And, you know, especially over the past 6 months, I'm hearing this quite a lot, as people saying that they've always told themselves they don't have time, but now that they've had a chance to sit and reflect on how they actually do use their time, they are identifying that time is not the factor at all. It's about drive, it's about motivation, it's about belief. So time issues will crop up for everybody from time to time. I mean, say you're an accountant and you've got end of year tax returns for people, or, you know, that time, whenever that is, March, yeah, end of March, I should know this, is going to be brutal, as is January when the money has to be paid to the HMRC. You've got teachers who in June, if you're in Scotland, or July, I think, if you're in England, like the last month of term is going to be absolutely brutal. You've got forward planning to do, you've got classrooms to strip bare, you've got all of these things that you need to do. So you know you're going to have a time lap. If you're manager of a retail premise, then you know that December is going to be absolutely brutal. But the positive thing that you can take from that is that you can plan that in advance. And you know that you can prep and prepare and plan and have that expectation of, you know, what's coming. But there are going to be times where time is just going to throw you a curveball, you know. Just as an example, tonight I'm doing this, but the cat also needs to go to the vet, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to not manage to do my live because the cat needs to go to her vet because it's got a limp. Not the evil cat that's just bit me in the hand, the other cat who's actually quite nice. So time issues are going to crop up from time to time. That is normal. But time issues that are always present, that is not normal. Okay, so we have to look at, you know, expectation versus reality. So the expectation is that you sometimes are short of time. Not the expectation is that you're always short of time, because that shows that there is an issue. That means that there's something not working right. So when speaking with these women that I've been speaking to, and over the last 6 months have identified that actually time hasn't really been a factor, it's just something that they've been telling themselves, a lot of it always comes down to other reasons. You know, could be, I don't trust that I can commit, or I don't believe that I can do, or I have tried so many things, why would something else be any different? I have failed so many times. We know that failure is not failure, it's just a change of direction. Or it could just simply be a priority. I don't have time can sometimes just be, I really don't see why I should be doing this, and I can't be bothered because it doesn't actually mean anything to me. So whilst we all want to think that we are doing all the right things, if it's not important to you, then it doesn't really matter, does it? So that's where we have to look at the priority levels of things. Now, I have put together some tactics that I use for time management, and these are tried and tested. We use these with our clients as well. Hold on, I'm just checking and in the comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. If you have questions as we go, please just pop them in, because I'm checking on the computer. Look at all the technology I have to my hands. A laptop, a desktop and a phone and I still can't get everything right. So these tactical things can be really beneficial for everything. So you can use them within the workplace, in a silo. You can use them for everything in your life. You can use them for work, personal, everything combined. Okay, so the first one is called the 4Ds. And basically you write the biggest list of shiz that you have to do. So everything that is rummaging about in your head, you've got to do the ironing because the ironing lady's not working because it's locked down. You've got to do the cleaning because the cleaner lady can't come into the house. Cat's got to go to the vet. You've got to transfer a balance of the credit card. The car needs an MOT. You've got a team meeting that needs organising. You've got a conference to organise. I'm just thinking of all of these things that we have. We've got to exercise, we've got to meal prep, we've got to do everything, so get a giant big shiz list together of everything that you need to do. And then you start popping them into this quadrant that you can see on the document. So the x-axis is urgency, so how quick does it need done? And the y-axis is importance, how important is it? And then you get to be really brutal with your list and pop everything in where it sits from an urgency point of view and where it sits from an importance point of view. So for some people like me, the ironing is really low importance. Quite frankly, I would send, I wear quite a lot of gym wear and things with stretch, so I don't actually have to iron them. I literally only iron my son's clothes. And if he didn't need to look smart, then I wouldn't even iron them. So for me, that is low urgency, low importance. For somebody else out there watching this, it might be the ironing absolutely is up there with importance. And that's absolutely cool. This is why it's so powerful, because it depends on you. But really, you need to be really, really strict and go, is it really important and is it really urgent in comparison to everything else? So you might have a report for your director that needs to be done tomorrow that is really important and it's really urgent. So that would go in that top quadrant. So for me, ironing is in the bottom left quadrant. Writing the report for the director is in the top right quadrant. So go through your list and put everything in there where it sits. Now, when you get to the bottom left quadrant, which is low urgency and low important, ditch it. It's not important and it doesn't need done. So just get rid of it. Absolutely. Now, if it's something that needs doing, but it's quite low importance, then you can delegate that out. And that doesn't necessarily mean to your team. It could be to somebody else in your family. So if you've got a kid, don't know what age is appropriate for ironing. If the ironing is it needs doing because the ironing pile is overrunning, but is actually low important, and get your 15-year-old to do the ironing. My mother had me ironing at 10, which is probably the reason why I absolutely hate ironing. So be very careful with what you're delegating. But use people round about you, longer term when we're out of lockdown, things that you can outsource, pay a little bit extra to get that time back for yourself. Get somebody else who's an expert. We've got an ironing lady called Karen, and she's tremendous. She comes and picks it up, brings it back the next day, and pay her 25 quid. Oh my God, that's hours of my life because I stand and procrastinate about it all. So pop everything on that list into that quadrant. So ditch the things that need ditching, do the things that need doing, delegate the things that need delegating. The things that are important but not quite urgent, you can decide on them later. Move them into another to-do list. Move them into next week's to-do list, and you can deal with it then. If you're finding that you're constantly deferring things off or deciding when to do it at a later date, it maybe should be in the ditch list. So, get really brutal with what the things are that you think you need to be doing. And it's really good. I love doing this. So, I'll sit with my to-do list at the end of the week, the stuff that I've not done, maybe Friday morning, stuff that I've not done, I'm going to sit through and I'm going to go through that 4Ds, because it will clear my head about where I need to spend focus for the rest of the week, and it gets rid of stuff that I don't need to be doing. So there you go. That's one tactic. It's really useful. Give me a why in the comments if this is something that you have seen before. Why? Right. next tactic of joy is a self-audit, self-time audit, and we can do this at any point. So I've done a wee screen grab there. So you're basically, you can print this out, you can do it online, you can do your own, whatever. You're basically just breaking down your day into 15-minute increments for 7 days. And this will help you really identify where you're spending your time. And you have to be honest with yourself. So if you're sitting on a Wednesday evening from 7 till 11:30 on Facebook, then you just put in Facebook for all of those increments. So get brutal, get down and dirty, really identify where you're spending your time. And it can be quite a scary exercise. I know a lot of us ladies, we're not addicted to our phones by any stretch of the imagination, but we probably spend too long on Instagram and perusing people that we aspire to be like for no real reason other than we get that dopamine hit, which I've explained before. So dopamine hit is where you get that immediate satisfaction. You crave satisfaction. It's one of the primary hormone reactions for binge eating and also for social media. That instant gratification. There you go, important. So yes, do the time audit. Once you've done the time audit for a full week, start thinking about your time blocks. So underneath the wee chart there, you can see rock, pebbles and sand. So write yourself a list. So rocks are, imagine your time like a big jar, like a huge urn. Can't really say that with a Scottish accent. It's the same as Carl. Urn. So your rocks are the things that you must do in your life to survive. So sleeping, eating, working, family, these are the things that are critical to life. Okay, they're your rocks. Then you've got pebbles. Now, pebbles are things that you need and want, but are not going to kill you if you don't do them. So, it could be hobbies, development, exercise for some people. For me, exercise is a rock, but for some people, exercise is a pebble. So you decide on your pebbles, and then you look at your sand. Now, if you think about this urn and you're putting rocks in, big rocks, it's filling up a wee bit. You're putting pebbles in the gaps. Then you've got your sand, and your sand is stuff that is time fillers, space fillers. So that tends to be TV time, social media, gossiping, These are all things that have probably not a lot of benefit in your life. And if they were not in your life, it would actually probably benefit you more. So that's your sand. So when you do your time audit, then look at everything that you're doing and decide where it goes. Is it a rock? Is it a pebble? Is it sand? All right. And if you find yourself saying that you don't have time for meal prep, if you don't have time for exercise, these are big things when you're trying to lose body fat. Well, if you're not trying to lose body fat, it doesn't matter two hoots what you do really. But if your goal is to lose body fat, but you have time limitations, then you can see where all your time is going. And in the areas that is sand, that's when you start building in, I could actually be writing a shopping list here instead in that 15 minutes where I'm watching the one show. Or I could be writing a meal plan when I'm in the Girl Gang WhatsApp group organising our first lockdown night out. There's things that could be a higher priority. So there are some tactics that you can use. Has that helped anyone? Can you give me a wee why? Oh, Dawn in our kitchen safe. So this is something, I've not put this down, but this is something that I've actually been implementing. So on my phone, I've got a Samsung. You can select, I can't remember what it's called, bedtime something. So basically at 9 o'clock, my phone goes black and white and social media apps are not accessible. Because I can get really sucked in without even intending. I'll start looking at holidays at 9 o'clock at night, and then before I know it's 10:30 and I've not booked a holiday because there's nowhere to go. But yes, that's another good suggestion, is if you are using your phone a lot, especially in the evening, which is not conducive to good sleep, which is then not conducive to fat loss, doing something like that is quite a good thing to do as well. All right, so that's all I wanted to take you through. So has that helped you? Give me a yes or no. Are you going to do something? Are you going to implement anything from this? Because information is not what we need. It's implementation. So what are you going to implement? When are you going to implement it? And I want you to share your outcomes as well, actually. That'd be quite useful. So if any of you do need help prioritizing your time, prioritizing your goals, if you have a busy, stressful life, which most of you do, given the type of people that are in this group, then you need to let me know. So give me a I'm ready in Messenger, and we can have a quick chat and see what you need, see what we can do to help you get what you need. And you know, we are all about the success. We just want you to succeed. All right. So, call to action. What have you found useful? What are you going to do by when? And if you need individualized support, drop me a message. And with that, I am out. Okay, my lovelies. Lovely to see some smiley faces. Oh, need to close that down. Yes, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it makes sense. And if you've got any special requests for future training, let me know. I think we'll maybe go back to mindset or nutrition. I'm not sure. But if you have anything specific, let me know. All right, my loves, have a gorgeous evening, and I will speak to you all soon.